can't hold the camera guard. I have to come down here. I
Okay,
think
that's
my
cool.
words. Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
have to
But
come right
yeah,
here.
that you look all right. So look, man, this Genesis Asiatic. Introduce yourself, brother.
Peace. My name is Born Reality. Allah Blizzard.
Okay, man. The conversation right now that we having today is the struggles of being an entrepreneur, or the struggles of starting your own business. So how long have you been doing your own business, God?
Since 2004.
So do you work for anybody,
Do I work for anybody?
or do you just work
Yeah,
completely
I
for
mean,
yourself?
well, so what you mean do I? Because even as a business owner, right? When you have agreements with other people, establishments, businesses, and you might be hired out to complete a job. So
Right.
you indeed, and if you look at it that way, then yeah, I still work for people.
Okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. But I'm saying, do you go clock into somebody else's clock?
No, I don't clock nobody's clock.
So how long have you been not clocking into somebody else's clock?
For since 2009 was the last time I punched the clock,
So
and
what
I
is
was stopped punch, and I stopped punching. I became, like I said, 2004.
right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
So
Right. So
what
2009
inspired
was
you?
my last punch. What inspired me?
Yeah, to just say,
I've
hey, look,
always, I've always been, I've always been a hustler. I've
okay,
always, from the time I could remember, I was selling ices, newspapers, fireworks, crack cocaine, coke, powder cocaine, crack cocaine. Not to, glorify those things, but that was just my transition from the age of 5, selling ices, to create my own paper route between the age of 8 and 12. And by that time, when I'm 12, it's 1984. Crack is heavy, and I'm able to get my hands on some cocaine. So I've always been a entrepreneur, I would say, and I got a lot of that from my mother, I think.
okay. What I want you to do, man, is give us some insight. Like, you know, why did you say, hey, I don't think I need to be going into somebody else's establishment and clocking their clock. I need to be able to, I want to get off their time and
So
I need to be on my time.
so what gave me that direct focus was the knowledge of self through Allah's 5% nation, the gods and the earth, recognizing, who I am as a maker and a owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the father of civilization and God of the universe. Once you get that instilled in you, and internalize that thought, that idea, you should no longer be in the mind frame of a worker bee.
Got you.
But
Got you.
some can still be. But for the most part, for me, my experience, that
Right.
when that guy, when that was my became my main focus, and I internalized that knowledge degree, I no longer look to be subjugated to anybody's clock.
Got you. Got you. Get off the clock. So I'm gonna ask you this question right here. Can you give us some of the struggles you had to, like, what point would you say, hey, I'm pretty sure that you had your business and you was going in and clocking someone's clock. When did you say, hey, I think that I can just do this full time? Like, when did you recognize that?
I recognize it when opportunities presented themselves that allowed me to make the shift. It was already in my mind. Like I said, I've been an entrepreneur to 2004. I started my cleaning service as a franchisee in 2006, and I continue to do that while working other jobs in other places up into 2009, where an opportunity presented itself for me to be, um, self-sufficient in the business that I'm still currently in today as an owner operator, which is bread distribution.
So what was your struggle? What was some of the struggles you was having to, I'm pretty sure that you had some struggles up to this point right now, and probably still do have some. I'm not sure, but what are some of the struggles you had
True.
with building this?
Yep. Well, struggle was ordained for the living. Even to get from the scrotum of your father to the eggs of your mother is a struggle. Even for the baby to be pushed out of the womb is a struggle. So struggle is ordained for the living, regardless to whom or what. Some of the struggles I had was um, finance. Finances was my first struggle because in order to buy a business or to start a business, you got to have some capital. So the first franchise, the second business we started was the Jam Pro Cleaning franchisee was in 2006. The first business we started was our corporation that we still own and operate, and we still do own and operate a Jam Pro franchisee today as well. The second business that we founded, pardon me, I said that wrong. So the first business we started was Mecca Bees American Incorporated in 2004, which is a corporation that we still operate today, connected with other entities and businesses. The second business we started was the Jam Pro Cleaning franchise, which is under Mecca Bees American Incorporated. Then in 2009 we started. No, pardon me. In 2009 we gained entry into the bread business, and in 2013 we started MBC Vending. As you can see, Mecca Bees American Incorporated, MBC Vending. Those names, kind of similar. We started MBC Vending, which we read vending machines and also bread distribution, which we still operate the bread distribution today. We no longer run vending machines yet. That was part of the venture, and the struggle was capital. However, we was able to, with credit building, we was able to get capital to buy 10 vending machines. At that time, this was in 2009. We bought 10 vending machines for $30,000 cash,
Mm.
with credit, right? And then in 2013, we had the opportunity to by the bread business. However, that had been an ongoing process for 2 years just to raise the capital for the down payment. But we was able to do that because of the relationship that we had built. We was able to build that at the same time because of the relationship we built. It gave us the ability to actually run the business in a owner formation, yet not having ownership. But because we was able to do that through the relationship, we raised the capital to be able to close on the business a couple years later.
So I want you to go into some details about like real struggles. Like, of course, capital was the struggles, but it was the capital. What about access to contracts and things of that nature?
So 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 we're in different phases of business now, right? So in the earlier part when we was getting into the real science of business owning and really running everyday business, we did that through other companies that were already established. That's what an owner operator,
How?
These are
How did you do
basically
that?
franchises.
Ah,
How did we? You had to gain the capital, God. Well, to become a franchisee, you need to be qualified in certain things. So if you had to take a cleaning course as part of the qualification, then that's what you did. Now, okay, so some of the struggles as an entrepreneur, God, in the cleaning business, which we have been running since 2006, you know, we grew that business to have 8 contracts. We was cleaning 8 different buildings. The struggle was to get people to work. Even back then, I'm talking 2007, 2010, 2011. You know, we was already paying people $10 an hour at that time. And but you know, to get we had individuals that would clean the restaurant, but it just wasn't. Um, you didn't get the people to take ownership as an owner operator, and as an owner operator, you taking ownership of whatever job that you're gonna complete. You know, it's the if you keep that contract, it depends on your how you produce on the job. So if people
okay.
got complaints about the work, then you liable to lose that contract. So that's one of the struggles is getting
Reliable
people
workers.
that's going people that's going to do the job, in a nature or in a manner that's going to allow the business to continue to thrive.
So did that leave you? Did that put you in a position to have to do all of that by yourself?
Yeah, for the most part.
Mm,
So we call that a selfpreneur. See, when you get into entrepreneurship, you have to really be enterprising. And enterprises are ran by numerous people, not one individual running the business.
right. So did you eventually get some help?
Um, yeah, I have help now. I have assistants in several businesses. Um, Yet I'm still working. I set some goals a long time ago, and I was kind of rushing past the point where I'm at now, thinking that I need to be further than where I'm at. But when I look
Right.
at back at the goals that I set over, a decade ago, I'm still got 2+ years to get to where I'm thinking I'm supposed to be at right now.
Okay. So you mentioned something about you doing the bread. How long you been doing the bread?
2009.
How did you get involved with that?
Mathematically in tune. Um, so that story is real illmatic. How I got into the bread business. Not a lot of people know this story. So I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina from the Bronx in 2003. I didn't make the entire move. I moved my wife and my son, and I was still holding down my Justice Cipher Born, my job in the hotel industry. Um, at that time, at the 6 years, I actually got the job through a car that I was lined up with that first. That hotel in New York City. And so I was working there, and I moved my family down here, and things didn't work out, so we had to move